Welcome, friends. Bring it in. Bring it in. Come on in. Join me. Take a seat. And we're here to find out the age-old question, what is the best IPA? I don't know, but we have 6 delicious options in front of us. And what potato chip pairs best with the IPA? Is it my personal favorite, the sea salt? I'm sorry, the salt and vinegar potato chip? Will it be the mighty Jalapeño, the Spice Master? Will it be the Smokehouse BBQ, Swedish with a little spicy kick, or the classic tried and true sea salt potato chip? Without further ado, my friends, sit back, relax if you'd like to join me in sacrificing our livers to science and probably our general health. Let's have some fun and find out. So we have 2 selections from Sierra Nevada. These are all West Coast IPAs. We have 2 selections from Stone IPA and 2 selections from Figueroa Mountain. In no particular order, I'm just going to start from my right, so your left, and go across the board. So the first thing I've noticed about IPAs, you'll notice the color of the bottle is dark. I was taught by a beer aficionado when I was a young man that the color of a beer bottle should always and only be dark brown. You actually want to avoid any sun exposure. The ultraviolet from the sun can actually damage and change the flavor of your beer, which is why fundamentally canned beer is always superior flavor-wise to a bottled beer. Even though the bottled beer feels good in the hand, I like bottles of beer, trust me. But you really want to avoid clear bottles. I know they look nice, but if they get sunlight, the UV can actually damage and change the flavor of the beer, so you always want a dark brown bottle. And first beer up, this is the Sierra Nevada Cold Torpedo Cold IPA, 7% alcohol. Let's give it a taste. Now, another thing that I've learned about IPAs is if you can, you really want to pour them into a glass. There was one IPA that I had one time that it literally tasted like a different beer because much like a wine, you can smell the bouquet and it has like a very strong nose. So let's see what this looks like and also the color as well. So let's take a look as we pour. Okay. So the Cold Torpedo Cold IPA by Sierra Nevada. The color is kind of medium. It's a little bit cloudy, a little bit cloudier than a typical like pale ale. It's not a hazy by any means. Nice looking head. IPAs tend to be stronger in alcohol than a traditional like a pale ale or a lager. The aroma. Okay, this one is very... It's citrus and hop forward. Kind of a crisp-ish nose. And let's give it the first taste. Let's see what we think. Boy, that is delicious. That is smoother and more full-bodied than I was expecting. Not as citrusy as I thought it was going to be. Delicious, round flavor. So some IPAs are sharper on the tongue with the bitterness. This one's softer on the tongue. And I've noticed with certain IPAs, some of them feel in the mouth more like a Belgian triple. So if you've ever had a Belgian triple, there's something about the mouth texture, the mouth flavor that is it's more similar to that than like a super bright hoppy West Coast IPA. But boy, that is a nice start. Very smooth. Oh man, almost little notes of God, is that banana peel? There's like a fruit peel flavor in there that I really like. So, all right, step 1, delicious, and I think this would pair very nicely with the salt and vinegar chip. Let's try the salt and vinegar. You can Smell those salt and vinegar chips, can't you? Oh, they smell so good. All right, and and with the beer. Oh man, with the combination of the salt and vinegar chip with this beer, it complements it so well because the vinegar chip has all that tang and all that acid, and then the IPA, this one smooths it out. So boy, the salt and vinegar pairs perfectly with the Torpedo, the Sierra Nevada Cold Torpedo Cold IPA. Great beer. I mean, I don't know, 5 out of 5. That's fantastic. Beer number 2, also by Sierra Nevada, the Atomic Torpedo Imperial IPA. Yikes. Okay, so this is 9.2% alcohol. This is a very strong beer. The Sierra Nevada Atomic Torpedo Imperial IPA. And I think most people know that IPA stands for India or Indian Pale Ale, and it was invented by the British sailors who were having to go to India, and apparently the climate in India was too warm and wet to brew their normal beer, so they needed to brew a hoppier beer for flavor to withstand the journey, or so I read on the internet. I hope that's true. Let's try this one. Let's see what the color's like. Okay. So this one, if I look at the two, it's definitely darker. Can you see how this one is substantially lighter? The Imperial IPA is like much more amber in color. It has a thicker head, beefier head, more robust head. The nose, what is the nose? Kind of mellow, if I'm being honest. Thought it would be a sharper nose, but let's give it a taste. Oh, good God. That is an incredibly good beer as well. Again, this is on lesser of the like really bitter hoppy side in your face, or like really citrusy. This IPA is a more full-bodied, smoother, richer, kind of like a more robust IPA. It's good. It's very tasty. What would I say with that nose? You almost get little notes of, is that fruit? I mean, it's not a really pungent nose, if I'm being honest. It smells like an IPA. There, you can smell the hops and you can smell the brightness, but it's not like over the top. It's man, it's not too bubbly. You know how some beer can be like really fizzy? These are very small bubbles on your tongue. Small bubbles leading to that kind of like smoother mouth flavor or mouth feel. Kind of more like a Belgian triple again. It's like a smoother mouth feel, complex flavors, a little bit of fruitiness, medium hops, like medium bitterness, and just outstanding. Let me try it with some jalapeno chips. It's amazing. Oh yeah, smell the jalapeno chips there. All right, and let's give this a taste. And oh. Boy, that goes good together. I'm gonna try it with this with the salt and vinegar. Okay, with these two beers, the salt and vinegar are better. I don't know why. There's something about the tighter bubble, the less super hoppy in your face. So the vinegar tang of the chip goes really, really well with these two Sierra Nevadas. Let's move on to our third beer. And this is going to be our Stone IPA Tangerine Express Hazy. I've had this beer before. It is phenomenal. I don't normally necessarily like fruity beers. However, tangerine, apricot can go so well with an IPA. And if I recall, this one is no exception. Let's give it a taste. All right. This one is it says the pale ale with tangerine and pineapple, 6.7% alcohol. 6.7 with tangerine and pineapple. Okay. Color-wise, can you see the haziness? If I compare it to, hold up, well, these are pretty close. If you can look closely, you can see that this one is definitely cloudier than this one. This one's more like a clear amber, and this one's like a hazy amber. You know, it's called a hazy. The nose is, you get little whiffs of that citrus. God, do I get the pineapple in the nose? You do. There's a tiny, tiny hint of pineapple that I get right on the head of the beer. It smells delicious. Let's give this delicious Stone Tangerine Express Hazy IPA a taste. Man, we are batting 3 for 3. We're batting 1,000 with these IPAs right now. This one, I'd say, is a little bit, well, it's fruitier than the first two. But again, it really doesn't have that. This really doesn't have that that crazy, IPA like bitterness. It's a full-bodied beer. It's a rich beer. It's full flavored in your mouth. Medium bubbles. Different mouthfeel than the first two. The first two felt like fuller. This one's a little brighter on the tongue. But what's really nice about it is it's not overpoweringly fruity. Sometimes when you get these fruity IPAs, they can be a little too much. This one is a beautiful balance. It almost tastes like a Hefeweizen in that way. It's like you get that citrus, that kiss of the citrus, maybe a tickle of the sweet pineapple, and that really nice, this kind of full-bodied IPA goodness. And I think that's going to go really good with a regular chip. Let's go on a regular potato chip here. Just regular. Oops. That's good. I'm going to try with the jalapeno. And okay. I kind of like that with the jalapeno. I wonder why. I'll try the salt and vinegar as well. But I kind of like that tangerine pineapple and jalapeno combination. Also good. So far, you cannot go wrong with IPAs and salt and vinegar potato chips. I think the jalapenos go better so far with the Tangerine Express Hazy. Now let's move on to a very traditional West Coast IPA, Stone. I love Stone IPA. It's just a classic, bitter, hoppy. Yeah, it says it's an iconic West Coast IPA, and I agree, friends, it is. 6.9%. Let's give it a taste and a pour. Okay, the color, more like the first beer. I pour a little bit more into here. So the first IPA, the Cold Torpedo, and the Stone are very similar in color. It's a tiny bit darker, just a tiny bit darker than that first beer. And then it was a darker, and then we had the Hazy, and now we have this. They're actually a very similar color to the Tangerine, almost identical colors to the Stone Tangerine. That's interesting. And yeah, they actually look almost identical in color. The Stone IPA and the Tangerine Hazy Express, almost identical in color. Let's give the Stone, the classic Stone, a try. Nose. Medium nose, floral. Not too crazy, actually. I was kind of expecting more bouquet, but it's not there, so don't force it. Boy, Stone makes a good IPA. All these beers are phenomenal so far. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Boy, it is just so... It is such a glorious kind of like a benchmark for an IPA, because it's not too hoppy. It's not trying to, be the hoppiest beer in the world. I mean, some IPAs really go out of their way to try to be like, like double hops, and and they're trying to have like a very specific flavor profile. This just occurs to me as a beer that knows who it is. It's not trying to be anybody special. It knows it's a great IPA. It's a classic IPA. It's gonna be, it's just, boy, that's just a good IPA. This is like the definition of like a West Coast IPA. Full-bodied, notes of hops and citrus, but not too much. Again, a very fine bubble on the tongue. It's not like a Bud Light or a Modelo that's like really, really bubbly. You can feel the bubbles on your tongue. Nope, it's a fine bubble. Nice mouthfeel. Very nice mouthfeel. Boy, I remember this beer being like hoppier and like more in your face than it's occurring to me right now. It's probably because I'm on my 4th IPA, so my taste buds may be a little bit blown out on the bitter scale. But this doesn't taste as bitter as I remember it. This tastes very pleasant right now. Like, man, that is just... That is just a oh, you know what I just got there? A little bit of caramel. A little bit of caramel. I didn't get that in the first 3. So this has, yeah, that little, you can taste it in the back of your tongue. That little, maybe that's the malt flavor, that caramel malt taste that I'm getting on the back of my tongue, more than the first 3. Not unpleasant. Not unpleasant, boy. Boy, that's good. Great IPA. Let's try it with the Smokehouse BBQ. Let's see how the classic West Coast IPA pairs with a classic Smokehouse BBQ chip. And let's... goes really good together. Now, of course, I could basically say that, if I'm being honest, all these chips so far have gone pretty well with each other. With the IPAs, it kind of depends on what kind of chip you like. You know, again, my personal favorite is leaning toward the salt and vinegar, but the Smokehouse is a little sweet. So I can see this one not being like as good. Like, for example, let me try the Smokehouse with the Tangerine. No, still good, man. Wow, I thought that might clash. No, it's still good. All right, we gotta move on. We got 2 more beers. Let's keep going. Okay, for our next beer, we have Figueroa Mountain Hazy IPA. They call this the Hiker's High Hazy IPA. You can get this variety pack at Costco right now. Man, it's delicious. This particular beer is at 6.8% alcohol. Hiker's High Hazy IPA. Let's give it a shot. I know it's delicious. And the first thing I notice is it is definitely a lighter color. If you can tell from the stone, this Hiker's High Hazy is a lighter shade of brown, more like the Tangerine. Yeah, even a little lighter than the Tangerine Express. Definitely lighter than the Imperial, and very similar, hazier, about the same shade but hazier than the cold Torpedo of the first round. And let's give the Figueroa Mountain Hiker's High Hazy IPA a sniff and a taste. Oh, first thing you get is lemon off the top. Citrus. This is, oh boy. See, this is like a bright IPA. This thing has a bouquet. Boy, what a nose. If you enjoy citrusy fragrances, it feels like somebody's almost like squeezing a lemon zest into your nose. Not unpleasant. Delightful. Oh God, that's good. Boy. Okay. So this one is lighter. It's more like, it smells more like a Hefeweizen, like a German Hefeweizen. The bubbles are a little brighter, so it's a little sharper bubble. It's a sharper beer. I don't know how else to describe it. I can taste it more in the middle of my tongue. The mouthfeel is crisper. It's not as smooth and like coating over your tongue and mouth like the other beers have been. This one's a little more. I almost taste like peach pit, like fruit pit in it. Not unpleasant. It's very good. Certainly one of the sweeter beers, more like the Tangerine. It gives you almost an orange note on the front too, like a lemon orange note. And if I compare this to the Tangerine, yeah, it's hard to describe. It's brighter. It's a brighter beer. It's a little sweeter. The bubbles are a little bigger, but it is extremely tasty. So far, I have nothing negative to say about any of these beers. These are all A+ number 1. 10 out of 10 no notes beers. These are all phenomenal. Let's move on to the last one before I get too drunk and can no longer coherently rate the flavors. And again, I would say any chip is going to go with this beer. I'll try it with the jalapeno. Let's try this one with the jalapeno. Let's see what I think. Okay. Okay. No, that's the wrong chip. No, that does not go with the jalapeno. Let me try it with this classic. Let me try it with the classic. Let's try the classic. Let's talk about the budget. Single chip if I can. Same chip. There we go. Let's try a single chip. Oh, that goes good together. That's a great combination. Something about the Hiker's High, Hazy with a classic potato chip. They complement. It's like neither one's trying to fight the other one and be like, I'm more. Whereas like some of these beers are a little more like, I don't know, they just go differently. Yeah, did not like that with the jalapeno. Love it with the regular. Okay, let's do the last beer, the Figueroa Mountain. Again, Figueroa Mountain Hoppy Poppy IPA. Hoppy Poppy. And this one is a 6.5% beer. Let's give the Figueroa Mountain Hoppy Poppy IPA a taste. And okay. Okay, now the the nose, mellow, almost maltier, not as citrus. Definitely doesn't have the citrus note. Yeah, way more like barley than citrus. It's fuzz on my nose. Let's try it. Let's just see what it tastes like here. Again, for the love of all things hoppy, that is a phenomenal beer. I mean, it just, dude, it's just, wow. The bubble is, color. So you can see, darker than the Hiker's Hazy, more like the Stone. Very similar in color to the classic Stone IPA. Different flavor. The Stone IPA was more a much smaller bubble. This is a bigger bubble, so it's like kind of like a burpier beer. If you chugged this beer, you'd be like burpier. But very good, man. I get little notes of apricot in there somehow. I get notes of, you definitely get I get the hops and you get some of the bitterness. But man, I wish I could point out some negative. I mean, I chose, these are 6 of my favorite beers, and I wish I could say like, oh my god, well this one's like bleh, or something. I can't. Like these are all. I mean, yeah, I've actually never had these 2 IPAs over here, but I know that Sierranevada is a amazing brewery, and they almost never miss. And these 2 did not miss. The Hoppy Poppy, you know what's funny? The name's almost deceptive because it's not insanely hoppy. It's not crazy bitter like you might think. It's not. It almost, maybe that's why they made the can orange, to kind of give you a hint that it's more of like a citrusy, like apricot-y beer. Because that's kind of the notes I get. I'm getting more like a fruity note, delightful, and I think this is gonna go great with I think it's going to go great with a smokehouse. Let me try a barbecue potato chip. I think this is going to run together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was right. Boy, those go good together. That's funny that maybe the sweetness, it's like they're both sweet. Not sweet, that's the wrong word. There's a sweetness to both of the chip and the beer, but it's also like savory. So there's like a savory sweet thing happening. And yeah, those go delicious together. Well, hey folks, look, I would highly recommend all of these chips and all of these beers. I am not sponsored by any of these companies. Shout out to Miss Vickies potato chips. They're amazing. Highly recommend Miss Vickies. Big fan of the variety pack. Again, not sponsored by them, but one of my favorite chips. Sierra Nevada. These two beers go right down the line. Cold Torpedo. Lovely. Atomic Torpedo. Imperial IPA. Hoppier. I almost got like an almond note. Now, delicious. What was this? Oh yeah, Tangerine Express. Tangerine pineapple. Delightful. There's almost like a slight nuttiness to the beer. No, I mean, I don't know. It's great. Classic Stone IPA. Nutty is the wrong word on the Tangerine. Maybe I'm I'm thinking like fruit pit. Maybe it's like the pit of fruit that I'm kind of confusing with like a walnutty flavor or something. Anyway, Stone IPA. So well balanced. So just like right down the middle of what everything you want an IPA to be. Right down the middle. Gorgeous. Figueroa Mountain, the Hiker's Hazy High, Hiker's High Hazy IPA. As soon as you smell it, you get the citrus notes, the lemon and the orange. Boy, that's pleasant. Man, and the flavor on the end, you get that like orange peel on the back of your tongue. And last but not least, Figueroa Mountain, Hoppy Poppy. So good. Again, like pit, like apricot pit taste. Not too hoppy. It's so well balanced. So if you, my friends, are a fan of delicious beer, you really cannot go wrong with any of these. Would highly recommend. 10 out of 10. A+ number one, no notes. Give them a try yourself. You can usually find them at your local grocer. If you're in Southern California, you can find them at Ralph's or Vaughn's or sometimes Costco. But good luck out there and enjoy responsibly. Have a wonderful evening. You take care.